Welcome to Zara-Geschichten. I should have known something was wrong the moment I opened the bottle. Tiny shimmering capsules glowing faintly under my kitchen light. Isabella handed them to me with that smile, half playful, half dangerous, like she knew something I didn't. "Just take one," she said. "You'll feel amazing. Trust me." I hesitated. My gut screamed, "Don't." But my curiosity, my reckless curiosity, one pill slid down my throat, and I forced a laugh, trying to hide the sudden shiver that ran through me. I've always been careful, always. I have secrets that no one can know. Not my colleagues, not my friends, and certainly not Isabella. My obsession with dressing up, with slipping into a version of myself that is softer, prettier, more delicate. It's mine. Nobody should see it. Nobody should know. But with those pills, I started to feel different. It started subtly. My skin tingling, a warmth spreading from my chest to my fingertips. I blamed it on stress, on maybe being tired. But the mirror in the bathroom told another story. My reflection looked sharper, softer. Something in my jawline. My cheekbones, they weren't quite mine anymore. I shook my head and tried to ignore it, but the urge grew stronger. My secret side. It was calling, whispering. I found myself pacing toward the bedroom, my hands trembling slightly, heart hammering like a drum. The door creaked open, revealing my sanctuary, rows of dresses hanging neatly, wigs piled like trophies, makeup scattered across the vanity. I had never felt so vulnerable, so exposed, and yet so alive. Isabella had always been the kind of girl who notices everything. One wrong move, one glance, one lingering hesitation, and she would see straight through me. And yet tonight, I couldn't resist. I pulled a dress off the hanger, a deep burgundy one, silky, clinging in all the right places. My hands shook as I slipped into it, feeling the fabric hug my body like it belonged there. Then the makeup. Every brush stroke, every touch of lipstick, every dab of powder felt electric, almost dangerous. I caught my reflection mid-process and froze. It wasn't just me in the mirror anymore. It was someone else. Someone strikingly beautiful, someone terrifyingly Isabella-like. My pulse spiked. I laughed nervously, whispering to myself, What is happening to me?" It wasn't just the thrill of crowd dressing anymore. It was more profound, more consuming. My voice sounded different when I spoke, softer, higher. My fingers moved differently, delicate, almost unnaturally. Every small movement made me feel like I was losing myself. Yet I couldn't stop, couldn't look away from that mirror. And then I heard it, the faint click of the front door. Isabella, she was home earlier than expected. Panic slammed into me like a tidal wave. My heartbeat rattled my ribs. I had seconds to decide. Flee, hide, change back, or be caught. My hands flew to the wig, to the closet, fumbling, desperate. But my reflection kept pulling me back. Hypnotic, beautiful, terrifying. It was then I realized something even more unsettling. This wasn't just about crowd dressing anymore. It was about becoming her. The vitamins, they weren't just enhancing me. They were changing me, morphing me slowly but undeniably into Isabella, or at least into a version of her that I could barely recognize. I froze, caught between fear and exhilaration, between secrecy and surrender. The sound of her footsteps drew closer, precise, inevitable, and I knew with bone-deep certainty that nothing in my life would ever be the same again. The first pulse of change had begun, and I was powerless to stop it. The knock at the door came before I had time to think, sharp, insistent. My heart slammed against my ribs as I froze, frozen mid-step with a silk dress clutched to my chest, my reflection haunting me from the mirror across the room. I shouldn't have been here like this. I shouldn't have dared to let the pills push me further than curiosity had ever allowed. But I had, and now the consequences were closing in. I could hear her voice in my head. Isabella, teasing, daring, dangerous. The pills weren't just vitamins. I realized with a shiver, they were catalysts for something far bigger. Something I didn't understand. Something that was changing not just my body but my mind, my instincts, my very essence. The knocking repeated louder this time. Impatient. Someone at the door, maybe a neighbor, maybe Isabella herself. My chest tightened. Every movement was measured. Careful. Every second stretched into eternity. I backed toward the wardrobe, letting my fingers graze the fabrics, desperate for something to hide behind. The silk of a dress slipped through my hands, soft against my skin, almost hypnotic. I was hyper-aware of every sensation. The tightness of the dress against my waist, the unfamiliar weight of my chest, the way the wig brushed my shoulders. I wasn't just dressed. I was transformed. The doorknob rattled. Panic clawed at my throat. I couldn't retreat fast enough. I couldn't revert. My reflection in the mirror was a stranger now. Curves that weren't mine. Lips too full. Cheeks too soft. Eyes that sparkled with a dangerous life of their own. I touched my face, trembling, and felt the truth. The pills were reshaping me, and I had no control. A sharp rap on the door. The sound jolted me so violently that I almost dropped the dress. My pulse raced as I realized something horrifying. I wanted to be seen, not caught, not discovered. Seen, to witness what I had become, and perhaps be admired for it. But that desire collided with fear. And the fear was real. Every noise in the apartment seemed amplified. The hum of the fridge, the ticking of the clock, the faint sound of traffic outside. They all became threats. My body was changing faster than I could comprehend, and the slightest sound might betray me. I sank to the floor, dress pooling around me, fingers clutching at the fabric as if it could anchor me to reality. But reality was slipping. My mind wandered to Isabella, to her knowing smile, to the teasing way she had handed me the pills. Had she anticipated this? Did she intend for me to become her? A laugh bubbled up from somewhere deep inside, unbidden, wild, and unhinged. I pressed a hand in my mouth, trying to silence it, but it escaped anyway. And in that sound, I realized something terrifying. I didn't want to stop. I wanted this transformation, even if it meant losing myself completely. I crawled toward the mirror, drawn as if by gravity. Every inch I moved felt alien and electric at the same time. My reflection shifted subtly as the pills continued their work, softening my jaw, accentuating curves, altering the very structure of my face. My hands moved with a grace that wasn't mine, delicate and feminine, tracing the unfamiliar lines of my body. And then I noticed something I hadn't expected. The way the dress clung perfectly to me, as though it had been made for this moment, for this form, for this person I was becoming. I closed my eyes, taking a slow breath. The thrill, the terror, the forbidden ecstasy of it. It overwhelmed me. The knock at the door had stopped, but the tension didn't. It lingered like smoke, thick and suffocating, reminding me that at any moment, everything could be exposed. The pills pulsed in my veins, a constant reminder that nothing would ever be the same. I could feel them changing me deeper in ways I hadn't anticipated. My posture, my voice, my very thoughts adopting her essence. The line between Alex and the woman in the mirror blurred. It wasn't just a transformation anymore. It was possession. A sound at the window made me flinch. Shadows flickered across the room. Every nerve screamed alert. I was acutely aware of my body. The new curves, the soft sway of my hips, the rise and fall of my chest. Every movement screamed vulnerability. Yet with it came an intoxicating confidence I had never known. And in that tense, suffocating moment, I understood it fully. I had crossed a line. One step further, and there would be no turning back. The pills were not vitamins. They were catalysts, and I was their creation. I stared into the mirror again at the stranger, who is me and not me, and whispered almost inaudibly, "This isn't just a game anymore. I'm hers, and I don't know if I want to come back." The door creaked open. My heart froze mid-beat. Isabella's standing there, her eyes glinting like she knew something. Everything. That playful smile was gone, replaced by something sharper, calculating, dangerous. My breath caught in my throat as I realized she wasn't just home early. She had been watching, waiting, testing me. I was trapped in the silk dress, heels pinching my feet, makeup smudged slightly from nerves. My reflection in the mirror behind her caught her attention, too. For a heartbeat, her gaze flicked between me and the glass, and I knew the truth.
She saw it all, Alex.
Her voice was soft, almost hypnotic, but the underlying edge made it dangerous. I think the vitamins are working too well. I stumbled backward, fumbling for words, fumbling for control. My fingers clutched at the dress as if it could protect me, hide me, make her believe I was still the same. But I wasn't. I could feel the changes coursing through me. Every nerve alive, every curve more pronounced, every thought tinged with femininity. I can explain, I whispered, voice trembling. She stepped closer and the air thickened, tense as a drawn bow. Explain. Her lips curved in that teasing, terrifying way. Or, are you going to let me see how far this has gone? Panic and thrill collided in my chest. Every instinct screamed, hide, run, reverse it. But another part, the part one had barely admitted even to myself, thrived on this exposure. The person staring back from the mirror wasn't just Alex. I wanted to be seen. My phone buzzed. A notification. I ignored it, too aware of the moment unfolding. Every sound in the apartment amplified. The hum of the refrigerator, the soft tick of the clock, the shuffle of Isabella's heels on the floor. My pulse roared in my ears. You look different, she said finally, circling me like a predator, eyes appraising, evaluating. And yet beautiful. Terrifyingly beautiful. I swallowed, trying to hide my rising panic. It's just the pills. I didn't. You didn't.
What?
She interrupted, stepping closer, her hand brushing mine. The contact sent shivers through my body, shocking in its intensity. You didn't think I'd notice? I wanted to deny it, wanted to step back, to shrink into safety. But the woman in the mirror wasn't afraid. I leaned forward slightly, testing, daring, trembling with excitement and terror. The tension in the room was electric, crackling. Every step Isabella took seemed to match the rhythm of my heartbeat. Every glance, every smirk, every subtle gesture was a test, and I realized with sudden clarity she was enjoying this as much as I was terrified. Then came the unexpected twist. A knock, louder, urgent. This time from the front door. Not Isabella. Someone else. A friend, a neighbor.
My secret exposure teetered on the edge.
I froze. Every muscle locked. The room felt impossibly small. My reflection seemed to mock me. The delicate curve of my waist, the softness of my cheeks, the way the dress clung impossibly perfectly to my changing form. Isabella's eyes followed mine. Oh, she whispered. They're here. I panicked. My hands flew to the wig, to the hem of the dress, trying to hide, trying to revert. But my body didn't obey. It had changed too much. I was fluid, fragile, and exposed. My voice, when I tried to speak, came out softer than intended, higher, unmistakably feminine. The door opened. A familiar neighbor stepped in, cheerfully oblivious to the tension, but then stopped mid-step, eyes widening at the sight before them. I gasped. Isabella laughed softly behind me, almost crewy. Relax, she said, her hand brushing my shoulder. Let them see. Let them all see. My mind raced. Should I run? Should I hide? Should I surrender completely to this? Every instinct screamed one thing, but another part, a dangerous, thrilling part, whispered. Stay, be seen. Embrace it. And in that moment, the pill's final effect hit me. Not subtle, not gentle, full, consuming, irreversible. My reflection shimmered and shifted, curves accentuated, features softened, my voice resonating higher, lighter. I was her fully, and yet still me. The neighbor stammered, unable to process. Isabella smirked, satisfied. And I laughed. Not the nervous laugh from before, but a rich, thrilling, almost sinister laugh. I had lost control, and yet I had never felt more alive. Is this permanent? I whispered to myself, though the words barely left my lips. Isabella tilted her head, eyes gleaming. Permanent, maybe. Or maybe it's just the beginning. The thrill, the fear, the intoxicating power of my transformation swirled inside me. Every glance in the mirror reminded me I wasn't just Alex anymore. I was someone new, someone dangerous, someone beautiful, someone impossible to hide. And as the neighbor backed away, confused, hesitant, I realized the truth. Nothing would ever be the same. Not my body, not my mind, not my life. The pills had won. Isabella had won. And somehow I had surrendered willingly. The room was silent except for the hum of electricity in my veins, the whisper of silk against skin, and the pounding of my heart. And deep down a question burned. What comes next? Because whatever it is, I am no longer in control. The apartment fell silent. The neighbor had shuffled out, unsure what they had just witnessed, leaving behind an invisible tension that seemed to thrum in the air. I stood there trembling, silk dress clinging to my curves, heart pounding like a drum, every nerve alive. Isabella's eyes bored into mine, sharp and knowing. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. Her smirk spoke volumes. The realization hit me like ice. She had orchestrated all of this. From the pills to the subtle tests to this moment where I was completely exposed and utterly transformed. I took a step back, suddenly aware of the dangerous allure radiating from my own reflection. The woman in the mirror wasn't just me anymore. She was beautiful, seductive, powerful. Every curve, every movement, every glance radiated confidence and danger. A perfect blend of fear and fascination. What? What now? I whispered, barely recognizing my own voice. It was lighter, softer, undeniably feminine. Isabella tilted her head, eyes glinting like a predator. Now you wait, she said, her tone casual, almost playful, but underneath it was steel. Wait, and see what comes next.
You've crossed a line.
There's no turning back. Her words sink into me, cold and thrilling all at once. I had known this day would come. I had felt it creeping, pulsing through my veins with every pill, every dress, every brush of makeup. And yet, the reality of it struck harder than I imagined. I wasn't just transformed. I was trapped. Trapped in silk. Trapped in curves. Trapped in the intoxicating thrill of being someone I barely recognized but couldn't resist. I looked again at my reflection. The woman staring back at me smiled knowingly. Was that me? Or was it her? The line blurred. My thoughts, my desires, my identity. They felt like a tug-of-war between two versions of myself. Alex and the woman I had become. And then I heard it, the faint hum of another door opening. My pulse spiked. Footsteps. A slow, deliberate. I froze. My hands clutched the dress. My nails digging into the silk. Every instinct screamed danger. Was it Isabella returning or someone else? I couldn't move, couldn't breathe properly, couldn't decide if I wanted to hide or step forward, daring to be seen. The shadows shifted across the room, elongating as the unknown figure approached. My reflection shimmered, the transformation in my body amplifying, curves and softness exaggerated, features refined. I felt an electric thrill, a combination of fear and exhilaration. And then came the whisper. Alex, or should I say? The voice was soft, teasing, carrying a dangerous authority that made my stomach twist. I didn't dare look fully.
I didn't dare speak.
The room felt impossibly small. Every second stretched into eternity. My mind raced, heart hammering, skin tingling with every movement. I realized with terrifying clarity that my life had irrevocably changed. The pills weren't just altering my body. They were reshaping my very identity, rewriting who I was. A bead of sweat traced down my temple. My reflection grinned, mirroring the thrill and terror coursing through me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. I wanted to surrender completely. Then a soft laugh, low, deliberate, almost cruel, filled the room. Isabella stepped forward, eyes glittering, hand brushing against mine. The thrill was unbearable. She had won. The pills had won. And yet, deep down I realized I had let them. I swallowed hard, voice trembling. "What do you want from me?" She paused, letting the words hang in the air like a blade. Then she leaned closer, eyes locking on mine with a predatory glint. "Want," she whispered.
I don't want anything.
"You want." The words pierced through me, igniting a storm of fear, desire, and confusion. I had crossed every boundary I had ever known. The pills, the transformation, the thrill, it had all led here. And now the next move was mine. The room grew quiet again. Shadows shifted. The mirror gleamed. And the woman in the reflection smiled knowingly, dangerously. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. The world outside the apartment didn't exist. Only this moment, only this tension, only the impossible, intoxicating reality of who I had become and the unknown of what would happen next. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I could only stare at her, at myself, and at the future that had just become terrifyingly, irrevocably uncertain. And then the screen goes black. The question lingers, what happens to Alex now? Will Isabella push further? Will the transformation be permanent? One thing is certain.